This is a sailing trip I made from the 28th of July until the 9th of August, and I was in this area here. So I will go to a larger scale map. This is the south of Brittany, facing directly the Atlantic Ocean, and this is the famous Golfe du Morbihan. Morbihan being Breton for little sea. And this is the city of Vannes, and here is the river Vilaine. And there's a nice little island here, very difficult to get to. And there's the port of Cruesti at Arzon, and you can navigate all the way up to Auray and all the way to Plougomoulin up here. This is the peninsula of Quiberon, which is joined to the mainland by a massive sandbank. And there are two islands here, Wedic, as is pronounced in Breton, Ouat, and there's Belle-Île-en-Mer, with the port of Le Palais here, and and Sauzon. Now the first day, I was up here at Fuller, where I launched the boat, and I sailed down, spent the night at La Roche-Bernard, and then I sailed out through the lock. The screen brings up a picture of the lock at Arzal, and I sailed right the way down here, carefully following the channel buoys so as not to get stuck on the sand. And I went directly to the Isle of Wedic here, and spent the night in the port, which is there. And then I went down here to Belle-Île-en-Mer, and I called into Le Palais, the port of Le Palais. There's a rather fine citadel, the old Bourbon citadel, which is up on the top, old military buildings. And then the next day there was absolutely no wind, so I motored to Sauzon. I'd been told that Sauzon was a very nice little place. I'm not interested in the hotel. That's the port of Sauzon. It gives you a rough idea. Now, after that, I sailed. I was intending to go to Lorient, but I was getting rather tired by the time I'd passed the west of Quiberon. I fairly rough sea, a lot of rocks, and so I went into Etel. Now the passage into Etel is quite tough. You can see on this on here there's a very, very strong current. Well, I went in at a time when there was much less of a current, and I was able to get in by following my GPS. And I spent my night in the port of Etel. A lot of the rest of Etel, the water is very shallow, so I didn't spend much time in there, and I didn't want to get stuck. So I sailed back round here, and I called into the port of here, the Port de Quiberon, the Porte Maria, and I waited for about an hour because there were quite a lot of quite strong currents that would have impeded me from getting in along these channels and between the rocks. But there are passages that are quite safe if you're careful. And I called into Port Alligan to buy some petrol, and then I left the Port Alligan and I spent a little while here to have a siesta in the I tied up to a buoy and had a siesta. From there I went directly to La Trinité-sur-Mer up here, which is quite a nice port, and they put me all the way over to the pontoon R, which meant there was this walk all the way there. If I wanted to go to the Capitaine, I had to go all the way along there and to where the Capitaine, the harbour master's office is. So yes, in this building here, and then all the way back. So it's I went to see an old friend who was messing about in boats, and then I sailed all the way around here because there's quite a lot of rocks, so you've got to be careful. And I went into the with the rising tide. I went into the Gulf du Morbihan, and I went right the way up here. There's Le Bono, where Bernard Moitessier is buried in the cemetery, and I went all the way up here to Plougoumellin, which dries out. I needed to use my legs, and I anchored. The anchor took a firm hold immediately. There was absolutely no problem. And this Chapelle Sainte-Avoye, I didn't visit it, but I've seen some photos of it, and apparently it's very beautiful and very medieval. So then I sailed back down the following day as soon as I had enough, just a little bit after high tide, so that I could go out with the tide, and I went into La Maubarden and tied up there and spent the night. I waited for the right condition, the right tidal conditions to go out through here into the Gemont and up between Port Blanc and the Ile de Moine. And that can be quite rough if you get it at the wrong time of between the tides. So if you get it during the slack of high tide or the slack of low tide, then it's okay. And then I tied up here off Arodon. There's a part of Arodon where you can sneak in and spend a night on a buoy, but it was a bit rough because I had a southwest wind. So I left there and I went up here, past the pink house, the Maison Rose, and into this port here of the Isle of Conlieu, and that was nice and peaceful for the night. The following day I sailed out about 2 hours after high tide, got through here all the way across here, all the way between Port Blanc and the Ile aux Moines in slack water, and I went pretty quickly. I had a favourable current, and the Jument was still quite peaceful and gentle, and I was able to get out. I spent 2 nights in here because I had some work to do, and I believe I was exactly in that slot there, and so that went quite nicely. And when I did leave the port on the Wednesday morning, I sailed all the way. I motored most of the way to around about here, and then I had enough wind to turn the engine off and sail, and I went back into the just a bit after low tide. I went back into the Vilaine, and I was able to get up in time for the 4 o'clock in the afternoon lock, and back into the Vilaine. And there I went through the Roche Bernard. I was pretty tired by then. I tied up to a buoy, and that was a free night. Then at Fuller, I had a second free night because I was tied up to the boat of a young lady who works at the boat repair yard. And then I crossed over from where I was with on the side of the boat repair, the Multinautique Chantier, the boat repair yard, and over to the other side where there was my car and trailer, and then I took the boat out here on the once I got the car and trailer down there, I could haul the boat out and go home. So there we are. The Vilaine is rather in itself is a pleasant place to sail, but for me it makes little sense without also sailing on the sea, and it was quite a long and ambitious voyage for a boat of only 14 feet or 4 meters. This is the beginning of my little August holiday, which I've called the 3 islands. The Isle of Wedic, the Isle of Wat, and the Isle of Groix on the other side of the peninsula of Quiberon. And I might go to the Belle-Île, which is a bigger island but further to sea. It all rather depends on the conditions. This is an absolutely glorious day. It was raining on Friday. We had dull weather on Saturday, and so it's Sunday today, the night Sunday after Trinity. I celebrated Mass at home in my chapel, and I drove here to Fuller, and I'm going to stay for the night at La Roche Bernard. And so this is rather beautiful. There's enough wind to push me forward just with the jib, and so which is rather lovely. That's rather curious on the other side. There's
a buoy with a lot of vegetation on it. One would almost think it was camouflaged. Anyway, this beautiful countryside on this very calm first day. I'm going very, very slowly. Probably doing 1 knot or something like that. Oh, now there we are. We've got a little bit of wind, and so we'll see how we go. I've got a lot of sorting out to do. The main thing was to get the rigging ready, get the boat launched, and it's now late afternoon, so I will be in Bernard before dark, and then in a very relaxed way this evening I'm going to consult the tables and everything for the tides and the times for the lock at Arzal. So we'll see how we do. Here I am at the Roche Bernard for the night. That's the rock that's included in the name of the port, and the sun is set. And I have electricity, although I have my batteries. And this is the this is the old port with some old buildings, including the harbour master's office, and the town is up on the rock. And there are some very interesting boats in here. I can't see any old rigs, but there are very often old rigged boats. Anyway, this is going to be a nice peaceful night at La Roche Bernard before going to Arzal tomorrow to go through the lock and out to sea, and then I'll plan where I'm going to go. I'm leaving La Roche Bernard, which is to the east, and I'm going to try to make it in time for the 10 o'clock lock. Otherwise it's 2 o'clock this afternoon, which is no big deal. So this is the second day, which promises to be very hot, although there's some cloud cover, and so I just have to drink plenty of water, make sure I don't get too hot. And here we are. We're going down towards the towards Arzal and the lock, so I better get on with it. Time for another update. I've left the Vilaine. I passed the lock this morning. We're absolutely packed full of boats, and with the harbour master's employee shouting and screaming rather than giving us reasonable instructions. Although she was a little bit more polite as we were about to get out of the lock. Anyway, most of these boats were with me in the lock, and a lot of them are going to be sailing towards Turbal. I'm going towards the Isle of Widik, which is straight in front of us. I'm going directly downwind, wing on wing. And it's a very gentle wind, but it's nice to be able to turn the engine off. It's a lovely coastline. The sun is a little bit veiled by the clouds, which is nice, and I put on some suntan lotion this morning, and had something to eat and plenty to drink. to avoid the effects of heat stroke. Swarms of seagulls around that fishing boat. It's no new sight. They're all looking for a little bit of gut, or a bit of skin, or a bit of head, or whatever they can get. But it's impressive all the same. Nearing the port of the Isle of Wedic, which is pronounced in Breton, and still got some rocks here, so I've got to be careful. It's all marked on my chart, and so I'm going to see if I can find a place in the port. It's low tide at the moment, so I'll have to see what's possible. Either I go aground and in the port, or anyway, I'll see. This is why I came with the Navionics regatta, and we had mass in the church. This is the port of Wadik, and there's a common mooring buoy, and we all moor to that, and we're all in circles, and it's the same thing here. And the port people in the little boat, they said, "Oh, you can go down there to the pontoons," except there's no place. But I can still go down to the pontoons. I know the kind of thing. So I'm moored here, and I can always disembark with my little tender. This is the south of the Isle of Wedic, with a lovely little mooring spot here at the south, and the masts aren't even moving an inch. That's where I should have come last night, to the lee side of the island. Anyway, it's rather an early morning because we really were doing the rock and roll. It was quite calm during the night, but it was rock and roll this morning. So I took a fisherman's mooring, a fisherman's dock, to have some breakfast, but he came back earlier than anticipated, so I got out to leave him his place, and I decided to set off for the Belle-Île. I'll probably go to the Isle of What on my way back. It's a beautiful sunrise. Of course, the sun is above the clouds there. It's quite a cloudy day, which is not bad because it'll keep the heat away for the moment, and it's rather a lovely sky. Oh gosh, that's my dinghy bashing into my stern. Needs a bit more line. I'm going south-southwest at the moment to avoid the rocks and the cardinal at the end, and then I'll go a bit more to the southeast, southwest rather, to the Belle-Île. We now have light rain, but I'm doing 3 knots under sail, no engine, which is rather nice. I've had to shut up the cabin and keep everything dry. It's not a very heavy rain. I don't think it'll last long. Rain wasn't forecast for today, but well, so we're having a few drops. Well, this is very nice. It's very little rain. It's nearly finished, and I'm on a beam reach, going west going west to the Belle-Île, and there's boat in front of me doing the same thing. Slight heel to port. Wind from the starboard. They're doing rather well. 4 knots under sail, no engine. Well, this is Belle-Île. This is the eastern end. A few houses. There's a beach over there with what looks like a sailing school, and a little collection of houses. We'll be discovering a little bit more as we go along. This is the port of Le Palais with the old garrison buildings on a Vauban fort from the 17th century. And there are some rather lovely buildings, although it's very touristy. It's all tourist shops. There are no ordinary shops, well, they would be much further away. And so there's the entry of the port. I've just left, and I'm going to go to Sauzon, which is the drying out port. The tide's coming in, so when I get there, I'll float to a place, tie up, and put the legs down for drying out, and then I'll spend the night there. There's absolutely no wind. Can't see any flags on. Well, the flag on my courtesy flag's just hanging down. There's no wind. Slight, I've got 2.3 knots of apparent wind because I'm moving forward with the engine. So I'm going up here. There's the line of my course, and I'm going in there. It's just a short trip for today. Oh, I'm still against the tide, but shouldn't be too bad. Another view of Le Palais with the old garrison. Absolutely amazing places where they would have kept ammunition and gunpowder in the 17th century. And you can see the fort buildings a lot more easily. So they're lovely Breton buildings, but unfortunately it's all priced out by the Parisians. It's all completely Parisian. It's a shame. Just going around some of the cliffs of the Belle-Île, and there's the semaphore up on the cliff top, and probably some kind of lookout post. Looks to be fairly sort of German Art Deco. I better keep well away. I think I'm in a safe depth. So we're going round the corner here. Round the corner there. You see the position of our boat. And so we're going up to Sauzon. There's absolutely no wind. There's not a sail in sight. We're all 3 boats out there, all motoring. So it's just a short passage today to Sauzon. Imagine what forces must have caused these rocks to go the way they did. These slanting parallel lines. And I've got some nasty rocks ahead. I'll keep well away from them, but of course the water is very calm, so I can go along slightly against the tide, but near to land, it's much slacker water. And and there's the headland of the port of Sauzon. Sauzon. Here's the port of Sauzon. Turn the engine down a bit. That's mostly white residential houses. Anyway, it all seems to be rather interesting. Oh yes, the two starboard markers. Oh yes, seems to be simple enough to show when you find a place. Leaving Sauzon now, and that's the inner lighthouse. To line up the two starboard lighthouses, and we've got a fairly soft wind. Just have to see how we go. I'd like to get to Lorient. By default it would be Quiberon. That's plan 2. So see how we go. It's a rather nice, pleasant, clean place. For the first time, this is a calm sea compared with what I've already had. I'm going around a lot of rocks and islands at the north of the Isle of Quiberon, which is absolutely magnificent around here. That's the isthmus of the Isle of Quiberon, and a lot of rocks. Fortunately, I'm able to avoid them thanks to my GPS, which is down here. And I can just about see it's quite a hazy day. I can just about see the coast. I've been sailing for about 4 hours now from the Perilous. We are leaving Etel at sunrise, very, very early in the morning. The simple reason it's already 2 hours. Over there in the distance is the Isle of Quiberon, with the isthmus there to the left. This is just a rocky, uninhabited island. I'm going around the outside of it this time, and I'm nicely clear from dangerous waters. So, my immediate goal is the southern port of Quiberon, where I'm going to wait for the turn of the tide. We're doing just around about 3 knots. I'm being tossed about all over the place by these waves. Try to get them a little bit more following. And that shouldn't be bad. So that's the Brittany coast and the beginning of the isthmus and the isle. And it's probably going to take about 2 or 3 hours to get to that southern point. And I'll go into the port and wait for the right time to get the incoming tide. Well, there are those rocks I was so afraid of yesterday. I'm really far away from them. I'm in safe waters. So I'm going to be going along the Côte Sauvage, the wild coast of the peninsula of Quiberon, and then I'll get to the tip, as already mentioned. Port Maria, the south of the peninsula of Quiberon. Entry into Port Maria. see what I can find. Here we are in the port. That seems to be a Elio dinghy, which is rather nice. I don't know if it's a pleasure one or if it's being used for work, for fishing. But they're all fishing boats here. It's not a pleasure port, but they'll probably tolerate me being here for a few hours whilst I wait for the tide to turn to get to the other side of the peninsula. I stopped at Port Alligain juste pour prendre l'essence et il y a ce navire de caractère. Ce navire de caractère. Voilà. Et puis right, and then I'm going to leave the port. Loads of boats passing in front. There's a very low depression over Scotland and the west of Scotland, which is giving us some pretty strong wind today, about 20 to 25 knots, and so this is why I've hoisted only my jib and not my mainsail. I'm still doing about 3 knots, which isn't bad. So there's still, even in this bay of Keeper, there's still some waves, but less than on the open sea. And now I decided not to stay in the little cove, but rather to sail to the north of the Baie de Quiberon and to enter the port of La Trinity. Here I am leaving the La Trinity-sur-Mer, having seen my friend, former president of the sailing club at Vol de Rose, and she now has a slightly different life. She's going sailing too around about this time. Might even cross each other. Lots of boats going out, a lot of coming in. It's low tide at the moment, and that's the port of Trinity-sur-Mer. And here we are this day. I can't see it very well. Yeah, I've got to go all the way around there because I'm going to the Gulf du Morbihan. Just another bird from the same spot. I've turned the engine off. I'm going into close reach to go on in a straight line to the south-southeast to get down to that pile of rocks below the headland between here and the Gulf du Morbihan. Now entering the Gulf du Morbihan. It's still a bit rough here because it's tide coming in, but it's not too bad. I've known this worse. For the first time I'm entering the Gulf du Morbihan alone. I wouldn't say I know everything about the Gulf du Morbihan because it's the bathymetric system is extremely complicated, but I would say a basic amount of experience of the Gulf. I'm now going into the River Auray, and I will go up towards Bono. where Bernard Moitessier is buried. This is the beginning of the channel going up the Aulnay. I wanted to go up to the rest of the Gulf. I would have needed to have gone past to the right of that obelisk. A few benches weeding in the rigging. With the land around us, it follows the wind and gives a bit of a Venturi effect. Southwest wind. So fairly steady, but with a few surprises. Just got past the Cap Espagnol. I still got wind to be able to sail, and the current, of course, is favourable. So I've got 5.5 knots. Over land, of course. It's not over water, but over land. Which is rather nice. So I'm going up towards Bono. You can see the speed I'm going at. Now I'm going up from Bono out towards Plugumela, a lovely place I used to go with Flotilla 2 of the Semenda Gulf. This is a lovely place. I've been with the flotilla of Voile Aviron. That was when I used my Zephyr for the Semenda Gulf. Lovely pine trees. Lovely quiet place. So I'm going to have a nice night here. And then hopefully there'll still be enough water to get out tomorrow morning at about it's about 7 o'clock. There's an old saying in France: the world belongs to those who rise early. Now 7:30 in the morning. I was rather concerned to get out of the shallows of Plugumela. 1.5 hours out after high tide, and so the mist over the water is absolutely beautiful, and the trees, the freshness, even though it's August. It's the 4th of August today, Sunday, 10th Sunday after Trinity. There's a boat coming upstream. I don't know where he's going. He's going to find very shallow water when he gets there. Anyway, that's his problem. And these lovely leafy banks. Anyway, I'm going to go to Lamorbaden and wait for the turn of the tide, and then I'll go to the north of the Gulf. Yes, I think I'll go to Aradon and maybe potter about there around the Ile de Moine, and spend the night on the buoy at Aradon, as I do with Frederick and company. Yes, interesting prospects, loose and not very planned plans. There's always something about the Gulf du Morbihan that I love it more and more. I'm now headed for Lamorbaden, and that is Loch Marieke, directly behind me, and there's some passenger boats moored, one off to go somewhere. That's the entry to the Gulf, and there's probably a distinguished house on that island. Most of these islands are private, or parts of them are private. I'd better get back on course. Yes, go up towards that little harbour. And those little inflatable boats, a couple of guys fishing probably. That's all. I just get more and more fond of these waters. And, it takes on another meaning at the Cementa Gulf, and it takes on yet another meaning when you're alone, or with just a couple of friends. Coming out of La Baden, I'm about to hit the Jument, but it's quietening down because it's getting towards the end of low tide at Aradon, so it should be getting slack very, very soon. So I've got the engine if I need it to begin with. That motorboat waves, that's nothing. Still had a tiny bit of adverse current coming out of La Baden, but it's all slack. It's all slack now, and by the time I get up to the gap leading to the Port Blanc, it'll be in my favour, and then I can go to. Well, I can already see the Iron engine's still turning slowly. If I take it out of gear, am I still going to be able to? I'm still moving forward, which means there's no current here at the moment. At this particular place until the current picks up to go the other way. That's to say inwards and in my favour. Yes, I'm still moving. The tower of that building behind the trees is moving in relation to the trees. So that's just lovely. I have just left Aradon. It's just bumpety bump with the southwest wind. So I'm going to go through the inlet, past the Maison Rose, the pink house, and past Port Anna, which is a fishing port, and I should be able to find a little buoy behind in calm water. See how we go. And then tomorrow I'm going to go to Vannes, and I'll spend the day in Vannes on Tuesday. So I just leave the tent over the boat, and I can just go out with a raincoat and an umbrella, and go and look around the shops and all that sort of tosh. So it's a lovely day today. Quite a bit more wind than expected. I'll do another little shot of the Maison Rose as we pass in front. There's the Maison Rose again. There's a reason why it's pink, because it's nautical. The nautical regulations require it to be pink as a landmark for navigation. It's a little bit obsolete because we all have GPS and Navionics now, or other makes. And now a nice shot of the Maison Rose. The weather's not quite so nice today, and I'm fighting a slight current, but making way against it under power. Quite high revs. In a minute or two I should be out of it. And then we got lots of these boats here that kick up over the big waves. Although I think he seems to be respecting the speed limit. I'm going round the north end of the Île aux Moines against a slightly adverse current. I want to get through the northern gap of the big part by about 8:10 or 8:15. That'll be the beginning of my favourable current, without it being too rough. I'm now through the gap between the Île aux Moines and the Port Blanc on a slightly adverse current. A green arrow on Jutsy. Oh, it's a marvellous tool. It enables one to plan a passage in the Gulf du Morbihan. But now it's almost slack water, and then it's going to be going out. Well, there's the Jument, which is down to the south, and I get to see what it's like by the time I get to La Morbaden. And so I will decide whether I'm going to go through it in the early flood tide or the late flood tide. And that should get me through without too much of being in a washing machine. Well, we're in the Jument now, but it's slack. There's an old expression, there's an old saying in France: l'exactitude et la politesse des rois. Precision, exactness is the courtesy of kings. So I've got it just on time before it starts getting wild. And there's Port Navionics over there to my on my port side, but I'm not going in there. Actually, it's not Port Navionics. Yeah, I think it is. Oh dear. Yes, it is. Behind the island. Yes, from my GPS. So here we are. I'm going to go out and then into the port Argent. And I'm going to have to take shelter. One, because of the rain tomorrow, and two, because of a big translating job to do for the 8th, but it would be ideal to be there, and I think there's going to be a good 4G reception. So here's the south of, oh yes, one of the second island. No, it's not the Isle of Bouvet, it's the next one to the south. And apparently there are some interesting prehistoric remains on that island there, which of course is forbidden to disembark. Fortunately, because otherwise the masses of tourists would destroy everything. Oh, we've got a bit of wind, but I've been motoring so far from the north of the Gulf du Morbihan. I'm at 4.7 knots with my with my engine on low revs. That's pretty good. It's slack water. At the moment, it'll get wild within about an hour or so. A load of people out fishing. Just the time. There's a few. I don't know what kind of fish there are in this in these waters. Some very nasty rocks on the port side to stay well away from, and then I get down to the port, I'll be out of the current. But that's really nice. It's really nice to be rocketing forward 5 knots over land. Doesn't seem so. It seems that I'm going very slowly through the water. 5 knots over land. Maybe I'll just have a look at the guidance in relation to the land behind. Ooh. I don't know if my viewers will see that, but that was a tuna fish that just jumped out of the water. I thought it was a dolphin at the beginning, but no, it's a tuna fish. We're in the current here. This is the Jument. It's a bit what I call prickly water, with the little points and on the top of it, some of the little waves. But it's it's very nice. Well, I wouldn't say it's nice, but it's mild. I've known much worse than this. Even in my little Zeph, when I was in Flotilla 2, with no engine. Oi! Oi! There's the motorboat waves. That's Port Navionics. Then there's the Port Arzon behind, where I'm good to go. And my position is there, and that's Port Navionics. So I should be past all of it, and then I'll be able to declare myself as safely out of the Jument. Well, this is Port Navionics. I've often been in here. It's a nice little place for waiting for the Jument to be in the right direction. So I don't need to go in there now, because the Jument is nearly finished. I still had the little bit of what I call prickly water. Well, goodbye, Golfe du Morbihan. See you next spring for the cemented Gulf. With loads and loads and loads of boats pouring out, and they look as if they're going to the islands, or maybe further. There's a gaff rig for the top sail. I've got the sail. It'll look a bit featureless from here, but this is the Isle of Penna with a very tricky entry. A little bit like Etel, it's different, but you have to identify the channels very accurately from your navigation system. But I've been in there once. I wouldn't exactly call it paradise, but it was a place I could rest up for the night. At long last, after hours of motoring, they have now got some stable wind from the west-southwest, and this is pushing me. I'm sailing over the following wind and the following sea towards the headland, which marks the entry to the Vilaine. I'm coming into the Vilaine now, and I have sight of my first starboard channel buoy. You've got to be careful here. It's only just after low tide, and which is not bad, because if I do run aground, I'll be floated off quite quickly. But I would rather avoid that. There are less of these aggressive waves coming from abaft, to look for the nautical term, and lots of oyster beds. Oyster beds the other side, so need to keep well out of those. So I'll just be following the GPS and the channel buoys. This is an impressive sight to see the sandbanks so close and so high. But this is the channel that is marked on the on Navionics and by the channel buoys. So I just have to be careful. Going up here, it doesn't look like there's anywhere to go, but I can see the next starboard buoy, and I'm keeping an eagle eye on my on Navionics. So far so good. These boats here with deep keels, they're afloat. Anyway, see how it goes. I'm leaving Arzal, having just been through the lock. Another bit of an adventure with a stern wind, but I managed to avoid knocking the mast down onto the bridge by running the engine into reverse. And the nice thing about this engine is I do have a reverse gear. So we're just going up, drifting up the Vilaine just nicely with the gibberline. It's probably this kind of place where you can find a boat for free or very cheap, but of course no guarantee about the condition. Here comes a gaff-rigged ketch. Absolutely magnificent, going very, very slowly, as one would imagine, and with at least 10 or 12 people on board. This is quite amazing.